Hello, Chef Marcus Guiliano here, your chef on a mission. Today's mission is my food fraud site. So some of you may know I have a site out there called foodfraudtv.com where I call out big name chefs or local chefs or no-name chefs for lying about their food, for misleading you, the customer, the consumer. And it really pisses me off when chefs say they have grass-fed beef and they don't, when they say they have wild salmon and they don't, when they say they have diver scallops and they don't. I do a lot of research on this. I know my food. I know where things come from. I know the seasons. I know what things look like. And I know what things should cost. And there's a lot of chefs out there that will take advantage of you. And there was a big-time chef, one of my first chefs I ever called out on my food fraud on YouTube. I think it was 2010 or 2011, maybe 2009. I called this chef out, major big-time chef. I was just asked the other day to be on a food panel with this chef. And this chef can't stand me. He sent me some tweets back then. Basically, he was serving grass-fed beef in his restaurant. Grass-fed beef that wasn't grass-fed. He listed the names. He had a grass-fed beef section, big-time steakhouse too. He listed the sections: grain-fed, Wagyu, grass-fed. And those grass-fed, he listed farms. I said, those farms aren't grass-fed, but let me give him the benefit of the doubt. So I called these farms up. And I said, oh yeah, so-and-so serving your grass-fed beef. Well, we don't have grass-fed beef, so so-and-so can't serve it. I said, well, look at this website. And they go, that's wrong, that's totally wrong. Like all 2 or 3 farms said, that's wrong. So I called the restaurant, spoke to the manager, the butcher, the chef, and they all told me I was crazy. I called like 8 times. They told me, you don't know what you're talking about. The butcher said, I grew up on a farm and all animals are grass-fed, all beef is grass-fed. I said, why don't you list your Wagyu and your other stuff under grass-fed too if everything supposedly is grass-fed? So the specific laws of the grass-fed beef, the way the USDA law reads and the American Grass-Fed Association standards read is the animal has to eat 100% grass. It cannot go to a grain diet. It can have like hay and things like that, but it cannot have grain. You're not allowed to feed the animal grain. As soon as you give it grain for the very first time, it disqualifies it as grass-fed beef because the transformation takes place with the fat content. It goes from a high omega-3 to more of an omega-6 fat in the animal. So things change molecularly and nutritionally when you do that, and that's why these laws are strict like that. So you can have pasture-raised beef that's supplemented grain, and pasture-raised is something different than grass-fed. So this chef should have known the difference. So finally, I said to the American Grass-Fed Association, I said, this is wrong. You have this celebrity chef that's misleading, and I've called the restaurant 8 times, and they're telling me I'm crazy. And they go, well, I said, what can I do about it? They go, Marcus, nobody really enforces that, which is the sad part. It's very terrible that that's happening. They go, make a video, put it on YouTube. Make a video, and I said, that's a great idea. I'll call this chef out. I will call this chef out. I'll stand up for what I believe in is right. And so I did that. And it took him a couple months to actually see the video and then respond to me on Twitter and being like, first he sent me a direct message, goes, I can't believe you disrespected me like that, is what his exact response on Twitter was. I'm like, I disrespected you. You disrespected guests for 6 months or 2 years. However long you've been doing this, you've been disrespecting your guests. So then the chef tweets me, his chef, thanks for catching our typo. And I tweeted back, it's not a typo. I pointed this out to you 6 months ago and you don't believe me. Then he direct messaged me a couple other things. He's like, I'm done playing games with you. Done playing games with you. So I was just asked to sit on a panel, on a food panel, a sustainable food panel next to this chef. And I was so excited. I was like, yes, I totally want to sit next to this chef. So that chef happens to be Tom Colicchio. I would love to sit on a panel next to him because he definitely knows who I am. He definitely knows I'm the chef who called him out and that caused some waves with him. The unfortunate part is I'm going to be traveling. I'm going to be in Spain taking 20 people to Spain on a wine tour, and I won't be able to accept that offer. But I do know at some point I will come face-to-face with Tom Colicchio, and I'm sure he's much stricter now. There were a couple other points that they were saying they were buying hormone-free, antibiotic-free meat, and they were buying the CAB, the Certified Angus program that was all natural at the same restaurant. And I called Certified Angus Beef and I was like, listen, I'm in this zip code. I want to find out who sells your product, the Certified Angus Beef product that's hormone and antibiotic free, because that's what I want to eat. And they went through the zip code, they tried to do a locator, and there was nobody within like a 200-mile radius, 100-mile radius. I said, but isn't Tom Colicchio's restaurant selling this? Because it listed on his menu. And they went online, they looked, and they go, nope, that's wrong, Marcus. He does not buy that product. We're looking through his sale, through his purchase history. He does not buy that product from us. So that was the second lie that Tom Colicchio, I didn't publicize, I don't think I publicized that one. But these chefs are just willing to say and do anything just to be able to fit in with the trends or charge more money, or some of them are just aren't knowledgeable about this. They're just not knowledgeable about this. I called out Maria Loy, the famous Greek chef in New York City, who was like the ambassador for Greek cuisine. And, you know, she argued with me that she's serving wild salmon in the middle of the winter and that it's fresh and that it's coming from like the Atlantic Ocean. And I'm like, that's impossible. You're not doing that. She goes, it is. I eat it every day. What are you telling me? This is listed right on her menu. So she was another one. And then I made a phone call with her and everything. And she just was like adamant. The other one from Butter, Alex Garcinelli from Butter, that restaurant in New York City, spoke to her chef one time, as they were saying the same exact thing, that they were having wild Atlantic salmon, this and that. And so after several conversations with the chef, because he goes, oh, let me call my vendor and I'll call you back. So I spoke to him again, and he admitted that this world is very tricky. It's a very tricky world to purchase food, and that people are getting lied to and this and that. And then he goes, we're switching our salmon. We're actually buying local salmon now we're going to start buying local salmon from this lady who comes from Long Island. That's going to be line caught, like Long Island wild Atlantic salmon, but we have to pay cash for it because then she just won't take a charge account or credit cards or a check. We got to pay cash as it comes in the door. I'm like, here's a restaurant that probably has 2 Michelin stars or Michelin or whatever, and she's a famous chef as well. And you're telling me that you're doing something sneaky, paying cash, and this is a tough world to buy food in because you're not sure what you're getting and this and that. And you have no idea that Atlantic salmon is not even legal to serve in a restaurant. You got 2 Michelin stars. And I'm like, this is, so after I called him out on that, I said, you're crazy. This is insanity. But these chefs are willing to tell you anything. I've kind of stopped producing content on my foodfraudtv.com website because I've been focusing more on helping restaurateurs. That's why I wrote the books, 50 Mistakes That Business Owners Make, and the other one, Top Reasons Your Business Still Has No Customers. And I have a website, and in fact, FeedSpot just named me to the top 15 marketing websites for restaurants for 2018. I put a ton of content on 50mistakes.com, 50mistakes.com. But that's been my main focus. But I was so excited to have the opportunity to be sitting next to Tom Colicchio on a food panel on sustainable food and real food. And unfortunately, I have to turn that offer down. And I'm just bummed out about that. That's it for now. Leave some comments and leave some questions. If you have any questions on specific items on food fraud, I'll be happy to answer those. I'll be happy to follow up with more videos on like when salmon's in season, diver scallops, stuff like that, because a lot of technicalities and all that stuff, and a lot of chefs are just throwing those terms out there. So leave some comments. I'll be happy to answer.